All right, let's get to Q&A. Been teasing that a little bit. Where do my notes go? Q&A. Q&A. Got some questions here that people have sent in, asking for answers or our recommendations or whatever. Dave from Wyoming, how much can I expect to make as a freight broker agent? Dave, that's a pretty good question because the honest answer is nobody can tell you that. I can tell you commissions. If you're going to be a freight broker agent, commissions, I've seen it as low as 40%, and I've seen it as high as 75 and 80%. But don't let those numbers fool you. What I'm getting at, it depends on what kind of volume you're doing. Okay? Depends on what kind of freight volume you're doing. Are you moving loads? Because you're not going to be making money unless you move loads. And that's where you're going to be paid on load net. You're going to make a commission out of that load net. We've talked about this before in other videos, but real quick, load net is the difference between what the customer paid you to move a load and what you actually paid the truck. So if you had a customer, they agreed to pay you $2,000 to move a load from point A to point B, and you had a customer, or you found a truck rather, and agreed to pay the truck, $1,500. Again, I'm just pulling numbers out of the air. Your net on that load would be $500, so you would make a commission out of that $500. Now, standard commission in the industry on average is pretty much looking at 60%. So if you were on a 60% commission schedule, your commission on that $500 net load would be $300. Now, let's break down this commission schedule a bit. Yeah, on average, standard is pretty much 60%. I have seen contracts as low as 40%, but it's always pretty much been my experience that if it's a 40% contract, the agent isn't actually contracting onto a broker. They're contracting onto an agent of the broker, so essentially they're going to be the sub-agent. So the agent may be doing 60%, maybe paying the sub-agent 40%, so they're making a 20% override off that agent's work. Now, when you get up there to 75, 80% type commission schedules, read the fine print. Usually when you've got commissions that high, the brokerage, they're using it just to brag about, but they're never going to pay it. They will if you meet it, meet their qualifications for getting to that level, but it's, you're going to have to hit certain levels. And to be able to get there, man, you're going to have to jump through hoops. Now, how much can you make? Yeah, you can make, when you get the ball rolling, you get on the other side of the startup period, you're focused on what is making you money. Yeah, of course, you can get up there being 6-digit income level. Generally, I tell people, give yourself a couple of years to get there. First year, you've got to focus on building the business. You got to focus on getting a customer base, getting a quantity of loads available so you can start focusing on what makes you money. That takes time. Okay, that's why you don't just start brokering tomorrow and, make $1,000 a week next week. It just don't work that way. You've got to build your business. As a freight broker agent, you are an independent contractor. You have to get your own customers, get your own loads, and find trucks to move those loads. That's why you're able to make the big bucks. That's why you're able to make 6-digit incomes as a broker agent. But again, it takes a little bit of time to get there. Dave, I hope that helps you out. Cindy in Nevada. I know I need to do my due diligence, but I'm a little confused about the carrier's insurance. Can you explain? Well, most carriers, when they send you over their carrier packet, it's going to include their insurance cord, ACORD. Whenever you hear anyone talking about a cord, that's generally what they're talking about. Proof of insurance. Trucking company by law must have a minimum of $750,000 auto liability and a minimum of $10,000 cargo. Now you may be thinking, well, wow, that's not a lot. You're right, it's not. That's why most carriers will have $1 million of auto liability and $100,000 worth of cargo. So that's the first thing you want to check on. Now, Cindy, if you get a cord from a trucking company and maybe it's got cargo 10,000, I always tell my clients, look at the zeros, count the zeros. Make sure there are enough zeros behind the one. because you'd be surprised just glancing at 10,000 and 100,000. If you're just glancing, it can kind of look the same. So make sure you look at the cargo. Make sure it's $100,000. Now you may be saying, why would any trucking company have 10,000? Good point. Well, most trucking companies will not have 10,000, but if you get an Accord that shows 10,000, generally it's because that trucking company, they're not trucking 12 months out of the year. They're doing something else for half a year or whatever. Farming, ranching, whatever. Yeah, they may farm for 6 months out of the year, and they may truck for the other 6, okay, when the farming operation goes down. Well, when they're farming for those 6 months, they're going to reduce their overhead to next to nothing, yet keep their insurance active, so they keep their authority active, the carrier authority. So if you get an Accord and it shows minimums on there, again, minimum auto liability is going to be $750, cargo $10,000, and you get that, just call the trucking company. That's all you need to do. Hey, buddy, you're going to have to get this insurance up. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, we just coming back into operation. Had that happen just a few months ago, actually. 5 minutes later, it was taken care of, had the new insurance Accord in hand. That was $1 million auto liability, 100,000 cargo. Now, a lot of brokers today, they require that the trucking company also, in addition to auto liability as well as cargo, carry general liability insurance of $1 million. More times than not, when you're setting up a new carrier, you'll find that trucking company already has that much insurance. Okay. They'll have that general liability is what I'm getting at, in addition to their auto liability. The reason they have it is simply because their customer requires it. Occasionally, you may come across a smaller trucking company that doesn't have it. Okay, by law, they're not required to have it. But more and more, I'm seeing brokers move to requiring the trucking company to have that $1 million general liability, in addition to the auto and the cargo, just to have that warm and fuzzy feeling inside. Now, you may be saying, well, why wouldn't a smaller carrier have it anyway? Well, because it costs money. Liability insurance is where insurance gets expensive. You're talking about general liability. If a trucking company doesn't have their own customers, they probably have no reason to have it because nobody's told them to have it. So, it's totally up to you if you required it or not. All right, Cindy, hope that helps you out. If you have any other questions, feel free to call me. I'll give you all that information in a moment. Paul in Ohio. He says, I'm a new broker and want to add agents. Any advice? Absolutely. Paul, make sure you can broker freight yourself. Before you start adding agents, you need to have a book of business yourself. You don't want to be a broker and not know anything about brokering. And, start hiring people to run your brokerage. Man, they'll take you to the cleaners. I'm not saying people are bad, but you're just not going to know what to look for. You're not going to know what to watch out for, what to expect, things of that nature. Make sure, first and foremost, that you understand brokering, that you've brokered loads. You know what it takes to find customers. You know how to sell loads to trucking companies. You know how to negotiate. You know the business. Think of it this way. You're not going to go out here and buy a big truck, without knowing anything about trucking. You see, and I know some people do that, but they figure out real quick, man, I wish I would have known something about trucking. That's the way that goes. All right. I'm Mike, and I'm the lead consultant at Tautoa. And we help clients all the time, be it freight brokers, freight broker agents, trucking companies, whatever. Check out our website. If you're thinking about becoming a freight broker agent, you're a trucking company looking to add revenue, more revenue to your current operation, check us out, Tautoa, TALTOA.com. You can call me 479-668-0838.